to me, Taniwha is the personification of events like volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, hurricane wind forces, earthquakes.
Some people might say that it's a ghost or kehua, but like in our family it's seen as a taniwha or tipua, which is a protector. So taniwhas aren't always, monsters with big teeth that come out and, kill everyone like Godzilla, Godzilla.
Now, the lizard was considered in many ways a taniwha, and it was a guardian, and also it was greatly feared by the Maori in those days. It was felt that if a lizard got inside your body, it would simply eat you out from inside.
I think the main characteristic of a taniwha is that it's a shapeshifter. It doesn't hold any specific form. It can change between water, landscapes and a being as well.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much a presence or a wairoa of a place, and also a kaitiaki, which means guardian.
Guardian, yeah.
So I think that's the main thing it is, and also just a vessel to tell stories through. No, not really. I mean, it's good for storytelling, but I think it's more of a presence.
Yeah, I do believe in the taniwha actually. I believe they are spiritual creatures, that Māori who were a lot more in touch with spiritual things a long time ago actually picked up on. I think modern times have stopped people from being aware of spirituality anyway.
Yeah, I believe in the Taniwha.
Do I believe in the Taniwhas? Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a legendary story that was told to me by my olds. Obviously they would have got told too from their parents. Yeah, I definitely do believe in the Taniwha.
I believe in taniwha. Yep. Not a belief, it's just what it is.
I don't think anything's false. I think it's all got its merits. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's a shapeshifter, so yeah, it could be a log floating up the street.
No one in my family has seen the taniwha, and I have to admit, I haven't.
No, quite personally, no, I don't think my family has come across the Taniwha before. I haven't either. No, even coming up, me growing myself up at the Wanganui River, a lot of Taniwha stories up there.
Yeah.
No one's ever seen one, no, but I can't say I've seen one.
Yeah, I haven't seen a taniwha. Yeah. I would say that my stepfather saw a taniwha, and the story just so happened that our stepfather was a very different man at a very different time in his life, and done some nasty things to my mother. And our tupua came back, our taniwha came back, kicked him in the head. And as mentioned, he woke up in the morning and he had this big horse hoof in the middle of his nut, his forehead.
Just big long eels.
Yeah.
Sort of, that's all I remember them. Long eels with that was about 18 metres long and had huge teeth and could eat you in one go.
Yeah.
Sort of real scary stories.
A half horse and half human, who comes and protects our family whenever something bad is inflicted upon us. Where I'm from, we also have kakatara and tūmauria, which are our taniwhas, which are logs seen in the rivers or in the lakes.
Swimming upstream generally,
Yep. Always going against the grain.
Against the current, yeah.
Against the current, against the grain.
Yeah.
They're doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's a still lake, if it's nice and flat, then they'll obviously be bobbing or they'll be moving around.
Yeah, definitely. Taniwha. New Zealand is right on the Ring of Fire, around the fault around the edge of the Pacific, and as I said before, Taniwha is the personification of these great forces of nature. New Zealand was formed from the activity of the movement of tectonic plates, pushed up out of the sea quite literally. I can show you. This is Taniwha in full flow. These are our elements of nature, just like Taniwha is the, Taniwha will be the culmination of all the different elements of nature. I'll say, the most dramatic elements of nature. And therefore rocks, when they're made, it's a very dramatic process, isn't it? I'm not sure about the log, how a tree fits into it.
This is just a brief story about Pautini. There was along the west coast in Hokitika, nobody swims in the Arahura River or the actual ocean with greenstone on because of a taniwha called Pautini that swims along the wake of the west coast ocean and through the Arahura rivers, where a lot of people find greenstone, incidentally. And all the local children are told never to go swimming there.
There was Hotupoku, Pekehaua, and another one called Kataore. Those are the three main taniwhas of this area here. Hotupoku used to live out of a place called Kapinga, and whenever he heard rumbling, he would sort of perk up, hear it, and then dive back underground, and he could, piece of cake, he would have been a GPS, just hunt them down, and that's what he'd actually do. He'd make his way underground, present himself, grab them, and take them back up to his caves.
In the 1860s, in post-European times, the Maori saw pictures of mermaids in books, and so they copied that idea and transferred it into carving. And that's what you see here. The story that I'm going to relate is the story of Pekehaua. And Pekehaua lived at a place called, we call it Taniwha Springs now, largely because that's where he lived, in these springs. And the story goes that he would waylay people along the way, and he would eat them and so on. And he got quite a nuisance made quite a nuisance of himself. And the local people decided it was time to get rid of him. So they hired the services of a gentleman called Pikata. Now, Pikata came over to deal to Pekehaua, and what he did, he built a big fish net, huge fish net. He was able to lure Pekehaua into the net, and that's how he was killed eventually. And when they cut Pekehaua open, they found the bodies of many warriors, their weapons and everything inside, showing the carnage that Pekehaua had caused upon the people. And here you see the use of what we call a mamaia figure. It's a hard profile figure. And here we see the serpentine shape representing the taniwha.
We trees rocks, it's just different. Like how people saw and interpret things.
I think that's kind of what makes each iwi unique, is having its own stories, and often it will talk about the main geographical feature within that iwi, like if it's, huge mountain, if there's a huge mountain on their land, then the taniwha will have something to do with the mountain. Or in Lake Taupo, they've got a huge lake, and so their taniwha lives in an underwater cave in the lake. And the West Coast is a creator of greenstone, so their taniwha Pautini lives on the West Coast, and he created greenstone, so each taniwha has got a story for that area.
Well, again, that would be, to my mind, because Wellington is a caldera, which was once a volcano, it would have been formed by a very powerful force, as in, you could call it taniwha. But the bottom line would be that it was a volcano that created Wellington.
Pātaita e ngake. So, all I know about them is that it was Whātaita e ngake who actually smashed open the harbour of that time and created the Wellington harbour. I haven't got as much detail as Clive, how he's talking about the love story or anything. I think he might have enough about that. I only refer to it because, as a performer, when we travelled down to Wellington, instead of paying obeisance to the local tribes, we paid obeisance to the two taniwha, tuki tuki aki akinga.